Oh, thank you so much, and hopefully that everybody had a good lunch. And I'll make sure that nobody's sleeping. I'll have some spiced up discussions. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm the only finance guy in this business leadership discussion. Everybody is from the different businesses leading all these transformation departments and CIOs. But here, I'm working in a finance group. My opening remark would be digital transformation is not only about technology, it's all about value. So without finance, sometimes it becomes very expensive experimentation. But to start with, as a word of introduction, so I still say I'm entrant in the digital finance industry, although that I've worked in close to 25 years in financial institutions, IT companies, research publishing. Some of them are HSBC, American Express, Pitney Bowes, General Motors, and currently working with Springer Nature. Explored life close to 12 years in India and 12 to 13 years in the various parts of the world, especially worked in US, Germany, spent good time in Hong Kong and London. So the objective is to talk about why picking up those respective points. I have seen world in terms of how people are actually working from finance perspective, and love to explore all these new AI tools and what can make our life easy. Happy to take baby steps, but more consistent steps. That's what we believe in the present role. So I am leading digital transformation more from a finance perspective as a part of the global finance group. This is a extract from Deloitte. So they had a survey in January 2026, talks about what exactly the CFOs are actually covering. So what kind of buy-in they have. So it means 50% of CFOs are talking about the digital transformation. Yes, they signed up for it. 87% says that yes, so some of our respective processes should be AI driven. 54% says that yeah, so not within AI, ideally we should have some AI agents, but not that great response. Customer centric finance is generally not a customer centric. Let's be honest and brutal about it, because our approach is more towards cash flow, balance sheet, risk control, as well as in terms of overall ROI. Although that I'll be speaking more and more into this topic. Definitely. So we being in a part of the global finance, we always say that we are business enablers. We always talk about how do we contribute in terms of the growth, as well as to have a good balance between the cash or maybe the investments versus overall ROI. Seems approach is from a CFO's perspective. These surveys or these indicative results are quite promising and committed in terms of fueling up the growth for the organization as a whole. And definitely they are also signed up for a lot of investments as and when that we are talking about any kind of AI-led initiatives. It could be in the business area, it could be into IT, it could be something related to operations, and something can be within part of the group finance also. I'll go into the more and more details. We feel in as a part of the finance group that why some of the transformations get failed. So because each and every transformation is not always a success story. It leaves some of the learnings, or sometimes completely fail also. But let it be. It's a part and parcel of the process. We think that if we have only technology mindset, that actually lacks the entire value proposition. So ideally we should see what is the ROI, and thereafter that what kind of solid execution that we need to have it. Although my punchline will say after some point in time, execution is more important than the strategy formation. And definitely governance can be a bottleneck, because we generally do not monitor about all these potential issues as and when we progress, or we scope it the way that we want from a technology point of view. I don't want to name a lot of startups, because a lot of startups actually get failed because they always lead from a technology point of view, from a customer centric point of view, but they always overlook about the compliance side of it. So Baiju, I just still give a name, so very big name in edtech industry, and finally failed because of all these penalties and non-compliance issues. There are multiple examples like this, and sometimes finance also have a limited ownership. It's completely led by the business. It's good, sometimes not good. So objective is to have finance also be part of your business partner to support all these initiatives rather than keeping in silos. Broadly, these are the framework that whenever we talk about any kind of transformation. So value proposition, we usually talk about, although I'll go one by one separately. Under value proposition, we always talk about the business case. So in terms of how do we quantify the cost versus value, and then measuring all these respective efficiency gains. So what kind of gains? It could be a financial, it could be non-financial, it could be operational, it could be non-operational, and then see the impact which is coming out, whether it could be a direct revenue impact, it's a top line impact, or we are talking about the risk reduction. It could be any kind of risk. It could be operational risk, it could be financial risk, or it could be reputational risk also. And then defining in terms of time to value. So how much time, how much effort that we are actually putting in, either could be from an operations point of view, from IT point of view, or from your own resources. Because whenever we take any of the projects, we generally don't see the involvement from the finance side also, because taking an example of SAP definitely, so one has an operational part, second is has a finance impact also. Even in the operational part, taking an example of you do it, so in the invoicing module, so invoicing which is being done by separately from the operations team, it does not mean the finance is not involved. Finance will also have an impact from an invoicing point of view in terms of top line booking, and somebody will be actually following up for that particular cash also. What kind of governance that we have? There are multiple examples to talk about. Objective is to see, so how much time and effort that we're putting in, what kind of value that actually that we are driving out of it. So this is more, so we always see from those respective angles rather than going into too much operational stuff. And then this is very high level. So I use very raw slides just to make sure the not so many pictures, just to make sure the message is very clear. We always say that you put the investments, and finally that we are looking for a cost saving at the end of the day. Finance folks, including me, that we are always very cost conscious people. We always look at a bottom line. So how much bottom line impact that we are creating it, either in the form of the revenue uplift, either we can increase the revenue or we can reduce the cost. These are the only two ways to increase your bottom line. And then finally, we always see whether, if you are looking for an ROI, what is the net value that we are talking about. Either you say it's a ROI point of view, or sometimes we usually say it's a how much is the payback period. So it means how much investment that you are getting it, what is the benefit, and how much that we can recover that particular cost in terms of the benefit. Lesser is always better. Then capital allocation, definitely. So some of our colleagues are also talking about committing money for any kind of investments, any kind of initiatives. We always look at a hard benefits, definitely. So most of the finance discussions are not emotional discussions. These are purely number driven discussions, and we are happy to contribute from a strategic growth point of view, innovation point of view, good, but what is the benefit that we are talking about? Is there any kind of risk? Whether it could be operational risk, or could be customer risk, or it could be compliance risk. Because if you want to automate or maybe streamline some of the invoicing model, so especially with different continents, we have in China that we had to take care of FAPIO. So it means all paid invoices for which they can actually take it claim back. Just giving few examples. And in Europe that we have e-invoicing getting into place now. So in Germany it's already implemented. So Spain is coming up. France is also coming up. So in some parts of the Europe, or some parts of Africa is also coming up, like Ghana. So if you have a spread across continents, you need to see if you are actually creating any kind of centralized system, what kind of impact this may actually fall through in different countries. Could be, we are just taking an example of invoicing, consolidation of invoicing, or maybe from one system. But does that actually help in terms of from a compliance point of view from all these countries? We need to see. Or if we are talking about the centralization of any kind of transformation, or do we need a lot of local systems that can actually plug in for our respective compliance? It could be VAT compliance also. So there are various factors. We usually look at it not from a business point of view, what actually works well for the business, but from a compliance point of view, from a taxation exposure point of view also. Definitely, we just spoke about clear payback period. Earlier is definitely better, but it does not mean that it's everything is actually work on the payback period. So we need to see what is a business benefit also. Sometimes that a lot of transformation projects that we usually run to increase your uplift of revenue, or maybe to having a better customer experiences. And then definitely executive alignment. So is everybody aware of from executive team that what exactly that we're doing it, just to make sure that everybody's aware of, they are aligned. All the board members, they should see the impact in their respective business areas. Execution, it's very, very important. We spend a lot of time in terms of assessing models, talking about a lot of strategic related projects, and definitely coming out from our own fantasy and saying that that's the way ideally it should look like. We have seen some of the presentations from good service providers and say, okay, so this solution looks good, but how do we integrate those respective solutions in the existing system? What kind of value that actually that will be driving it? And then especially execution is very important. At what point in time that we should take a decision? We were just discussing with Jamie also in terms of at what point in time ideally we should say no in some of the projects, otherwise it keeps going. So prioritization, it's very important. Everybody have their own priorities. Tax may come, I need 5 projects. AP may come, I need these 5 projects. Business may come from a sales point of view, I may need these kind of investments. I need to work more on CRM. So rather than working on the older one, I want to work and spend more time on Salesforce, taking an example. And then market research team, they needs more tools. But what exactly that we're looking for in terms of prioritization? Definitely that you can't accommodate everyone's request. Out of 30, you may end up having with 5 or 6, which will be allocated from a business point of view, and how this will define the value to our respective shareholders if you're a listed one. Then pilot, then scale. Definitely this is a normal term, UAT, and then you go for a go live. But we, being a part of finance, we are very, very conservative people. We always say unless and until you test 5 times and then there is no result, then it's better to implement that. SAP is a good example. This is the reason we always say in the room, whenever you are implementing SAP, it's a big whale. It takes time. Don't overcommit. From an IT point of view, don't overcommit that this will be up and running. This may have a lot of leg work actually, even if that you declare go live. So once you start working on it on the ground, definitely get to know so what exactly this is required on a ground. So in terms of what kind of challenges may come. Align business and IT. You cannot work alone. So finance always believes that we know our strength, and let business as well. Business should take the ownership. IT will help. IT is the backbone. So let them drive. So we can be the sponsor. We can be part of the co-owner, but let IT drive it on the ground. They are the best people to equip with. We can work on litigation. We can work on the risk mitigation. We can work on the cash flows. We can work on ROI. But who will be actually ensuring it? This is IT. IT, they are the backbone for the entire transformation. So they are the one who will make your dream happen on the ground. So need to support them. And then agile delivery model, any kind of delivery model that you want to have a continuous watch what is going on. Performance tracking and execution model, it's more or less that you can very well correlate. But at the end, goal is always real time and AI driven decision making. What exactly the decision that we are expecting from those transformations. A real example but without going into AI in finance, this is very generic, but let's remember those cases where around 25 years back, that's the way that I still remember when I started my career, around 25 to 30 years back. We were in finance, we were writing all these journal entries by hand. Fine. And thereafter that Tally came in, Zoho Books came in, then the QuickBooks came in, a lot of accounting packages came in, and then we have seen evolution in terms of those accounting packages, and people were previously doing everything by hand, writing journal entries, creating a trial balance, and then putting, and then again creating balance sheet, and thereafter that filing for the taxation. So that's the way that we have seen until now. We are talking about Tally, then the QuickBooks, and then others in between, and then Oracle Financial 11i, 10.7 came in, then 11i, and so on and so on. Then SAP ECC. Now we are talking about S4HANA, and we have already implemented S4HANA. So look at all these changes. This is nothing. This is also a transformation. And we educated our own people. We educated ourselves in terms of moving from handwritten entries till entries, which is happening now along with SAP in Fiori apps. Why I'm giving this example, the way that we have done all these transformation, not only finance, everybody part of the business have actually helped the organizations to grow. And especially all these consultants and business expertise that all of you have it actually helped to grow the business and integrate the business. But is it the end? Answer is no. If I take a break for 3 months and come back in finance, and definitely the things will change. Why? In SAP Fiori, we just talk about SAP S4HANA, which is the latest version. But is it the end for us finance? No. Why? Because now we started integrating MS Copilot. So, I'll give you an example that we have actually done this. We have actually done, we created agents in Copilot. Now, few days back, people are talking about OpenAI, ChatGPT, and then Copilot came in, and some of our colleagues, they were saying that ChatGPT is not good, even if that we are using model 5, GPT-5 models, which have chat functionality, which have reasoning functionality, and this is another version which is already available, that it can switch from chat to reasoning as per the requirement, which is a model of one of the option in chat, GPT-5. Now we are talking about Claude co-work. We are literally struggling. In finance also, we are literally struggling for the small changes which are actually happening, but it looks small, new things are coming in, and it's becoming very difficult for us. That it's like, for me, I always say that it's like that we are diving into a sea and looking for a pearl. Thousands of things which are available. What do we choose? How do we integrate? What kind of landscape that we actually need? It's very difficult. Things are changing so fast that we do not know what to invest, where to invest, where not to invest. Although we have a good live examples that we are a listed organization, we listed in 2024, but we have done a good work. That's what we always say in terms of creating those agents, although this is pretty much into the early stage. And we converted and automated a lot of stuff. But looking at the size of our organization, we are highly diversified kind of business. So have a presence in 50 countries, more than 10 different accounting models that we use. And thereafter that, for each and every accounting, that if you talk about the major steps, somebody is doing an accounting. Somebody is ensuring these accounts are also closed. It means your monthly closing. And then somebody is also ensuring, and some tool is required to consolidate. It's not only Germany. Under Germany, we have another 25 entities. In Austria, we may have it. We may have it in UK. We have it in Africa. We have in other parts of the world. And another dinosaur is like US. So how do we consolidate all these systems and all these reports? On a consolidation, that you needed different reporting tools. For compliance, that you need a different consolidation, just to make sure you are putting up or identifying the right odd patterns from your consolidated accounts also. Not only for the legal entity, even at a group level. Then finally you are consolidating. The moment you are consolidating, then you need to write a commentary. Being in a listed organization in Germany, which is not a easy cakewalk in terms of reporting point of view. So it requires a lot of efforts for the consolidation. Previously, that we were taking close to 75 days from the period end to publish our results. It has been reduced to 60, but our objective is to bring it to 30. It's a huge. Looking at the diversified one, so how do we do that? Because there are various stages, various people, lot of dependency. It's not only one system. There are various subsystems that we need to close those so that it can feed to the main system. From that particular feed of the main system, it goes for consolidation. I'm talking about the one legal entity. There are multiple legal entities. And then somebody is actually reviewing those numbers. It does not mean that somebody is putting an entry thereafter that we are just closing our eyes and just publishing it. No, it does not work. Then you'll have to make sure all these respective numbers, you're not only owning it, you are explaining it to investor relationship teams, to all these analysts in the market. That's what the future, your future depends. Yeah. So overall, we are talking about a lot of thought process. Actually, it goes to make sure numbers are correct, and thereafter which tools that actually we should use, and the way or the pace which is available in the market. It's pretty fast. It's pretty fast. So before we actually think and start implementing something, new things are coming up. We always have a challenge with this, but since we are a listed organization, I cannot give numbers, but at the end, I have taken a screenshot of our agent, which is that we actually developed in our Microsoft Copilot. We gave the name of financial analyst, but you can give any name, and it gives not only the overview, this has a knowledge bank and various tools which are integrated. Now we are also thinking in terms of the next step, how to create multiple agents so that agents can speak with agent. It means one agent in the one system and definitely can pull out the report, and another agent can also give the feed, and it can consolidate the feed. Not only single agent, but multiple agents should speak. We are still thinking on which system ideally we should use. We should integrate with S4HANA, or how do we do that through with our GBQ, which is a Google business Google BigQuery. So there are a lot of discussions we usually get involved into from a finance perspective. Anyhow, next section for us, we just spoke. So now agent to agent open protocol that we are thinking in terms of, and how do we have a multiple agent orchestration also in Copilot. Let's see. So because for the database that we have a Google BigQuery, but we are also using SAP. So from SAP, either we should go to the Google BigQuery, and then we should keep using it through the respective agents also, but we are still trying to find out what is the best way. Takeaways, definitely. So objective is, keep involving finance. That's the request. We can help in terms of driving those data driven decisions, and then we can quickly talk about the ROI approach also, and wherever we can see any kind of benefit, we'll be more than happy and to support also. Closing remark. Winner of 2026 will not be the one who will have a most digital one, so which can be measurable. So that's what my closing remark would be. Thank you so much.
Excellent.